Farther north, 300 American liberators bombed military installations in German-occupied northwestern Europe. Flak was heavy over some targets.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another video with Wartime Whistles. And today we're going to be talking about another really cool aircraft. This is a German aircraft, so this is a later jet aircraft that fought with the Germans in the European theater. And this is the He-162 Volksjager. It was known as the People's Fighter. And it was a German single-engine jet-powered fighter developed late in the war under extreme time pressure, and it was designed for mass production using wood due to metal shortages and intended to be flown by less trained youth, and featuring a distinctive top-mounted engine and an ejection seat. Despite its speed, it suffered from structural flaws, poor building quality, and limited combat success, making it a fast but fragile aircraft. Now, this aircraft was powered by a single BMW 003 turbo engine. It was mounted above the fuselage. As you can see in this photo, that engine right there is the BMW 003 turbojet engine. And you can actually notice that the cockpit where the pilot sits, it's a single seat cockpit, of course with an ejection seat. It was a single seat cockpit with an ejection seat, a first for operational single engine aircraft. Now, this aircraft had very good performance. It was very fast, over 550 miles an hour. But the downside to it was it had poor stability, weak structure, and unreliable engines. So the engines were really not reliable. And the armament, there was typically 2 cannons. So some aircraft had a 30mm Mk108 and some had a 20mm MG151. This aircraft was used for Germany's emergency fighter program. It was a rapid effort to create a lightweight fighter using minimal strategic materials. And it was intended for quick training of youth pilots through experienced Luftwaffe pilots who ended up flying it. And it had the official name of the Volksjager, also nicknamed Spots or Sparrow by Heinkel and Salamander under the Wing program code name. And only a few dozen saw combat in the war's final weeks with limited success, as the Germans, under the leadership of General Alfred Jodl, would sign the Instrument of Unconditional Surrender for all German forces at Reims, France, on May 7th, ending the war in the West, which was the European theater. And after he signed, Field Marshal Wilhelm Keitel signed a more comprehensive surrender in Berlin on May 8th, which is celebrated as Victory in Europe Day, also known as VE Day for short.
The arrival of the German representatives, Field Marshal General Wilhelm Keitel, Colonel General Paul Stumpf, and Admiral von Friedeburg. They enter the meeting room shortly after midnight. When they're seated, a translation of the unconditional surrender terms is read, and Keitel states that he is prepared to sign. There are 9 copies of the document, 3 each in Russian, English, and German. The first signature is appended at 015 Central European Time.
And that marked the formal end of World War II in Europe, with the surrender formalizing the cessation of hostilities across all fronts, though fighting continued briefly in the east against the Japanese, who would surrender in September on the USS Missouri. And It was a really neat fighter. Unfortunately, there's not really any flying anymore, but if you come out to Geneseo, in the museum you could see a Volksjager. It's a really neat aircraft built by a guy in Nunde. Took him quite a few years to actually build this aircraft, and it is a really neat aircraft, and I never knew that there were jets that had turbo engines on the top of the fuselage. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on that notifications bell. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
The Assistant Chief of Staff of the French Army, General Francois Sauvé, signs for France. On behalf of the Supreme Commander, Allied Expeditionary Force, Lieutenant General Smith affixes his signature to the surrender document. Signing for the Soviet High Command is the Chief of the Russian Mission to France, Major General Ivan Susloparov.